Dave Chappelle has spent years in one mode, angry at trans people. Then he sits down for this interview and the whole act cracks. Not because his opinion changed, but something underneath finally showed.
These transgenders, these niggas want me dead. I'm Team Turf. I agree.
On this interview, the demeanor changed a lot.
What do you say to people who feel that in some occasions you're punching down?
Well, okay, this is a conversation that I'm,
You're bored by, sick of?
Yeah, I'm not sick of it. I don't want to be dismissive to that sentiment, but I don't know. That's a tough one for me because so much of that was a media phenomenon.
Yeah, it was just a media phenomena then. Okay. One thing that I remember, and this was exactly from 20 years ago, is his Oprah interview. In this interview, he says,
I was doing sketches that were funny, but socially irresponsible. I felt like I was deliberately being encouraged, and I was overwhelmed. So it's like you're getting flooded with things, and you don't pay attention to things like your ethics. Yeah. Or when you get so overwhelmed.
So he knows he has responsibility. He knows he has responsibility as an artist. He's not here just saying jokes. He's a media figure. But somehow he has this double standard when it comes to LGBT or trans people specifically. He doesn't have responsibility.
I would say that, not everything is for everybody. I don't tell country artists what to sing about it. If you're a person that is very angry or passionate about something and you're afraid that you're going to be misrepresented or misconstrued and you feel like you have to police comedy to get your point across, you should assess your point.
Or his responsibility is to fight the good fight.
I mean, look, in the middle of apartheid, if I went and played Sun City, I'd say I'm a bad person. But if I went and played Soweto, why would I not do that?
So I'm not going to debunk his argumentation. FD Signifier and the Surf Times and all of those guys do it better than I could and have all the receipts ready, and I don't have the budget. But what we're doing today is to look at the scripts and the inner mechanisms that allow us to be incongruent to ourselves and the people who are looking over us or after us or to us. On one hand, 20 years ago, he had responsibility. 20 years later, he thinks people's feelings is their own problem. Okay, we accept it. We don't, but we'll accept the challenge. Let's not talk if Dave Chappelle is right or wrong. What is happening to a person who's well-intentioned, and I believe he has good intentions, between these two clips? I think what he fell for was something that we all fall for in blind spots in our lives. He just happens to be rich, powerful, with a lot of notoriety. But all of us do this mistake. It's when we have a real problem, a real struggle, and might be individual or might be a group struggle. In his case, as Black people. In my case, could be LGBT. But you can't identify with the struggle too much. The problem is when you become privileged, when you become rich, when you become even more free to do what you want to do, but you identify with the script too much, any criticism from outside, any pushback, or any upcoming struggles or upcoming groups with their own struggles, they all feel like opposition. They all feel like power struggle. They all feel like they're against you. From Dave Chappelle's point of view, he came from an unprivileged position, which is true. 20 years later, he has money, fame, and a bunch of power, a bunch of connection in society and in culture. But when the trans movement starts to uprise and starts to be in prominence, then he feels like it's a power attacking him.
My least favorite of which being, and I hate this phrase, they say I was punching down on them. Punching down. The fuck does that mean?
He can't understand that there are other groups that have their own struggles. There are clips of him doing jokes on the gay community, how they organize better, how they sometimes overshadow the rights of black people. And yes, we can argue that they are just jokes, but I get the feeling, personally, I get the feeling that he thinks this is a either or situation.
As of confusing the emotions, you think I hate gay people, and what you're really seeing is that I am jealous of gay people. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm not the only black person that feels this way. We blacks, we look at the gay community and we go, God damn it, look how well that movement is going.
When a minority attacks him, he feels like a victim. So his script is still running. The script of victim is still running. He doesn't have the opportunity to step back and say, oh, there's new things happening. There's new things coming through. There's new things that don't have anything to do with me, that doesn't make them an oppressor. But he can't do that. And this happens when we identify with our inner scripts too much. So back in the day, he left his show an offer of $50 million. Pounds. I was going to say pounds. Because he had a responsibility towards his people. Fine. But then he became a household name. In some ways, Dave Chappelle is the institution. Again, I'm going to refer you to FD Signifier and to the Surf Times for way better analysis of that. But there's a trap in being right once, or being powerful once, or being in the limelight once. There is the danger of you becoming stuck, not only in the script, but in the role. It's interesting that he thinks the right appropriated his joke. He can't make the step that he was with the right. He was helping the right. He is washing his hands of any responsibility here.
Are you validating the system, or are you resisting it with your presence?
Because that would mean to leave the script behind and to say, I'm no longer an oppressed, I'm a perpetrator. The ego will never be able to handle this new identification in the story. So he has to reframe every single story to vivid picture moment, how the right made appropriation of his jokes. Everything has to be reframed in the same script as always. Even though he can literally buy a radio, even though he can do a show and have people showing up no matter how cancelled he gets, because he is not truly cancelable. Nobody's truly canceling him. He has Netflix show. He's fine. But I think the lesson from here is that it's not just famous people that fall into this trap. We all have these blind spots. We all fall for things, for rules that we apply to one thing, but we don't apply to the other thing that we don't want to deal with. It doesn't happen just in power. It's like the rebel kid that says, I will never treat my kids like that. And they have kids, they grow up and they wake up one day and they are just like their mother. Or the hippie activist that one day becomes the boss and they think, I'm going to treat everybody right. And then they see, oh, I became the thing that I hated. But they never say that. They find ways of justifying. So in some ways, Dave Chappelle is still stuck in his 20s or whatever age he was.
Yeah, I'm like the old guy who has that hot outfit from the 70s. Fashion, go on without me. I look fine. I'm that.
Not in terms of maturity, but in terms of script. And sometimes I feel like the acknowledgement is more difficult nowadays, now that Gen Xers and elderly millennials are getting old. It's more difficult for us because the gap between generations and what comes is so much bigger now. Things change so fast that the cultural difference between me and Dave Chappelle is big, but between me and somebody who's 20 is even bigger. So somebody who's 40, 50, and 60 years old has to become a village wise man. But you can only be wise if you take the wisdom of the youth. This is what these guys, Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, all of these whiny babies, they don't see that they are stuck, not listening to the new problems, to the new solutions. They're stuck, and they have to say stories, they have to say lies that don't make sense. We're so lucky that we don't have somebody shows a clip from 20 years ago. Because if we did, we probably would see that we do exactly that. But I'm getting older, and I'm trying not to fall for the same traps, and it's a daily effort of being strong in opinions and at the same time open to the new ways of doing things, to the new ways of seeing things. And it's a negotiation. It's not easy and it becomes heavy at times. And it's so rewarding at times. These guys know a lot, but they're not wise because they choose not to. Much so that some of them think they are the philosophers of a generation, and they actually are not. And they sound like old people, out of touch, even though they're still young. Thank you very much.